High in the Sierra Mountains, just outside of Yosemite National Park, is the home of Sierra Online, the creator of the world's greatest interactive fiction. Once again, Sierra is breaking new ground with one of the most captivating, challenging, and intense interactive stories ever created. Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers, is a psychological suspense story of one man's desperate search to safeguard his future by unraveling his past. A generations-old voodoo curse haunts Gabriel's sleep and threatens his very life. Gabriel's search into the roots of voodoo, combined with the images of his own nightmares, provide the keys to unlock the curse and save his very existence. Game designer Jensen and a team of programmers, artists, animators, musicians, cinematographers, actors, and other specialists have spent over a year creating this incredible adventure. Come, join us behind the scenes for an inside look at the making of Gabriel Knight. Jane began the Gabriel Knight project immediately following her work as co-designer and writer for King's Quest VI, which was the best-selling computer game of 1992. For Jane, Gabriel Knight was a true labor of love.
Well, I came to Sierra Online because I really loved adventure games. My first one was King's Quest IV, and I loved the medium the way it was. I love puzzles of all kinds, and I like the graphics. But as a writer, when I came here, I kind of got inspired thinking about how far this medium could go. Sierra was already at that point changing a lot of its direction, and I feel very strongly that this medium can be as powerful of entertainment as any film or any book or any comic or whatever medium you have. And I don't think that, I try not to limit my thinking about the powerful nature of the story because it's a computer game. I think that we can make computer games that are just as good as any other form of entertainment.
With Gabriel Knight, Jane also pioneered a number of changes to the familiar Sierra game interface.
We get letters from people saying they think that the game assumes too much. It assumes that they want to pick up something when they click the hand on it where they may have been trying to open it. So I wanted to try to keep the point and click and the icons, the visuals instead of words, and introduce a little bit more freedom of action. That and the dialogue trees are the way we've done that with Gabriel Knight. I think it's made it a very difficult game, but I hope that people will take a little time to get used to it.
An experienced team of artists and animators transformed Jane's vision into the game's distinctive style and appearance. Lead illustrator John Schroeds created an overall art design that borrows from the dark look of film noir, combined with the distinctly stylistic appearance of graphic novels.
We use the graphic novel as an influence for the cut panel format to bring out climaxes in the storyline.
A talented team of artists created over 80 breathtaking original background illustrations and scores of cut panel and dream sequence pictures. Like the sets of a motion picture, they create the backdrop for the incredible world of Gabriel Knight. Lead animator Michael Hutchison harnessed an arsenal of animation tools and techniques. Over 2,000 individual animations and dozens of cinematographic and cut panel sequences were created. The resulting game visuals define new standards for interactive adventures, giving Gabriel Knight the look and feel of a motion picture production.
One of the things that we were really excited about when we started work on Gabriel was the opportunity to really make it visually any way that we wanted to. It's the first in the series, and we weren't locked into any particular style with this game. We could We could have the cut panel sequences of stills and then animate those in comic books fashion. We could have video capture, we could have 3D studio, we could composite all of these different mediums into one, and really get some pretty exciting effects, I think.
The programming team integrated the graphics, animations, cinematographic sequences, user interfaces, puzzles, dialogue, narration, sound effects, and music, creating the final game.
The main challenge for us is the movie-like quality that we can attain with the CD game. Previously, we would have dialogues would always be in text, and the action would basically stop. Now we have the talking going on while the action is going on, and synchronizing those two things is a new experience for me, but it really gives the game an extra flavor. Before, we took text-based games and turned them into CD games, so we really got a text-based game on a CD. Now we have a truly CD-oriented game.
The musical soundtrack has always been a distinctive element of Sierra games, and Gabriel Knight is no exception. Game producer and musician Bob Holmes composed an enthralling soundtrack of original music that sets the mood and adds depth and dimension to the world of Gabriel Knight.
My background really is in film scoring, and I tend to really levitate to a lot of the old style Max Steiner kind of film scoring, in which using a theme is much more valuable than texture. One of my goals for Gabriel was to latch on to a few really strong themes and then use those in different ways. Gabriel is a great vehicle for music because of the texture and the darkness and the tone. It just gave me a lot of rich things to work with.
The musical score is augmented by hundreds of realistic sound effects. This brings a cinematic scope to the game's soundtrack and adds life, energy, and believability to the game-playing experience.
I really don't want to be dead. Can we try that again?
Perfect.
The compelling characters that were created for Gabriel Knight took on a whole new dimension, thanks to the star-studded cast of Hollywood veteran actors enlisted by Sierra to provide their voices.
About Detective Mosley.
The Hollywood Reporter proclaimed that Gabriel Knight is the first time an all-Hollywood cast of name actors has been assembled for an interactive movie. Veteran Hollywood producer, director, writer, and performer Stuart M. Rosen signed on to cast and direct the voiceover actors. Rosen has directed hundreds of hours of animation voiceovers and on-camera television. He has been honored with scores of awards, including 10 Emmys.
Gabriel Knight absolutely measures up and is far and above a number, in fact, I'd say most things that I've done, in many ways. You know, obviously it's a different form. It's not quote, a film, and it's not a television series or a half-hour or an hour special. So it's different. It's a different form. But I think it's outstanding. I'm very proud of it. I want everybody to see it.
With nearly 7,500 lines of dialogue and narration covering all the possible paths the player could follow, this project was the equivalent of directing voiceovers for 5 full-length animated feature films. Gabriel Knight was Rosen's second collaboration with Sierra. He also directed Robbie Benson and others for the CD-ROM version of King's Quest VI.
Drachen means dragons. I wonder if Mosley would know he was being insulted if I called him Drachen Breath.
Tim Curry is among Hollywood's most talented and versatile actors. Using his sensuous masculine voice, Curry created a distinctive personality for the title character of Gabriel Knight.
This is a newspaper clipping about a murder committed in 1810. That murder is an exact match of the voodoo murders, right down to the marks around the bodies.
Tim Curry as Gabriel Knight. It's kind of an interesting story. We were trying to cast Gabriel, and we're looking at some of the younger actors, you know, some of the Brat Pack kind of people in Hollywood, and I just wasn't getting a feeling that they were right for the character. And I kind of teasingly said, well, we need to get someone like Tim Curry because he's a very sensual person who's got a real attitude, but you can't help but really like him and really be attracted to him, no matter how, you know, off the wall or how obnoxious he's being in his role. The casting director said, "Well, I know Tim Curry. I've worked with him. I think we could get him." And I was amazed.
Curry is also one of Hollywood's busiest actors. He has a starring role in the Three Musketeers movie, which recently opened to rave reviews nationwide. His recording sessions for Gabriel Knight were scheduled around his latest project, a featured role in the upcoming movie The Shadow.
Gabriel Knight is very, very cool and impossibly handsome. And of course they came to me. He's enormous fun for me to play because I'm a huge fan of New Orleans, and I go there quite a lot, so it had never really occurred to me that anyone would ever want me to play somebody from New Orleans. So I kind of leapt at the chance, but also it's really very exciting to be part of this kind of whole new kind of development, because any new way to infiltrate myself into your minds.
Curry has created scores of roles on stage, screen, and television, including memorable performances in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Hunt for Red October, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon, Home Alone 2, and in the television comedy Roseanne.
Ooh, baby, I love the way you move.
Mark Hamill is best remembered for creating the role of Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars motion picture trilogy. Since then, Hamill has concentrated on stage work, with leading roles in several Broadway productions. He displayed his talented versatility in creating the voice for Detective Mosley.
Give me back my badge. Now, Knight!
Well, I'm basing him on various people I might have met, a little mixture of Gary Busey with Randy Quaid, with Mr. Anderson, and I think he's a very pragmatic guy, sort of by the book. You know, he finds the protagonist to be someone he has to work to catch up with. But it's fun, and it'll all work great, but for the actor it's very difficult. It's very schizophrenic, because they ask you a question and you have 5 responses. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta call the chief and see if it's okay. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta call my wife and tell her I'll be home late for dinner. Now, wait a minute, I got tickets to the ball game tonight. It's like nothing I've ever done. And I'm having a great time doing it.
Rising star Leah Remini brought the right mix of wit, sarcasm, humor, and compassion to the voice of Gabriel's assistant, Grace. She provides a balance for Gabriel's sometimes chauvinistic behavior.
Well, I did get her address, but you're a little out of your league here, big fella.
Among her numerous television roles, Remini guest starred in several episodes of the hit series Cheers, and currently has a recurring guest role on Evening Shade. Gabriel Knight was her first interactive work.
When you're on camera, you could use your face and you can mug and you could do things, and whereas when it's just your voice, you think you sound great and you think you're doing this great acting job, but it really just sounds very flat, and it sounds like you're reading. And when I have the lines in front of me, I forget that I have to act. So the director will say, okay, do it better this time, but this time act. So I'm not really good at it. I'm getting better though. So, but it's easy with these. I love the characters, so this one I find very easy.
I see. By the way, I forgot to warn you, Mr. Knight. The local cemeteries are quite dangerous. Muggers, vandals. I would avoid going there alone, if I were you.
While the face may not be immediately recognizable, the voice of Michael Dorn is unmistakable. Best known for creating the character of Worf on Star Trek The Next Generation, Dorn's commanding, resonant voice was a perfect choice for Dr. John.
You! What are you doing here? You know, Worf is very distinctive. He has a very distinctive voice and a distinctive way of talking. And sometimes you could get into trouble by all of a sudden slipping into the Worf character, just by the way he talks. And that's probably the hardest thing is getting out of it now. It's been 7 years, and so immediately you go into it. Although Worf his voice is a lot lower than mine, and he's a lot more stern and serious than I am.
The role of Wolfgang is brought to life by the talents of stage, screen, and television legend Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
We must locate the tribe's original African homeland. Her remains might be there, or they might be in New Orleans, buried among her descendants.
His performance on Gabriel Knight adds interactive entertainment to his resume that covers more than 50 years in all facets of the entertainment business.
This is different in that you don't know anything. I mean, you come in and you read a bunch of choices, and you don't know which is the right one or which is the wrong one. False leads, true leads, and so forth. So it's a multiple choice performance based on a significant lack of knowledge, I think.
Gabriel Knight defines a new chapter in the evolution of computer games. The CD-ROM provides the storage capacity required to bring you this artful mixture of industry-leading interactive game design, state-of-the-art computer technology, and award-winning Hollywood performances.
This is very entertaining. I mean, the storyline itself is sophisticated. It's the kind of story you would see in a feature film or on cable television rather than network television. And the fact that I mean, for the most part, people slip the cassette in, they push a button, and that's the end of their job. And I think this is a challenge to people. And, you know, with cable channels, with all the satellite television, everything that you have competing for people's attention, I think this has a real chance to be groundbreaking in its own way. I'd love to see it happen. I'd really love to see it happen because, for me, it's an actor's dream come true.
First of all, it's clearly the next step on from video in that you're absolutely involved in the process. So you influence the outcome of the plot. You take the movie where you want to take it. What's really best about it seems to me, is that you can sit in your own home and make your own movie. It's pretty cool to me.
The convergence of Hollywood's talent with the award-winning story-based game development skills at Sierra opens the door on an exciting new future for interactive entertainment. Jane Jensen's Gabriel Knight Sins of the Fathers represents a bold step down this future path.
The interesting thing about interactive fiction is there is a plot that continues through the game, but also because it's interactive and because the player is exploring at their leisure, you can put in all kinds of side trips that may be just about character or just about some interesting point of history or just about the universe that you're in that don't necessarily progress the story. And I think that makes interactive fiction potentially a much richer form of entertainment.
Interactive fiction integrates the best attributes of films, novels, stage, and television. But it's an exciting new entertainment experience, giving you the unique opportunity to actively participate in the story.
It really rolls up all of those forms, the dramatic forms, reading, all of it, all together in one ball of wax. And I think this is going to be the new thing. I think this is going to be the thing of tomorrow. And though it's young today, wait till it matures. Wow.
Now it's your turn. Take a journey you will never forget into the world of Gabriel Knight.